The triangle above is a right triangle and sine B is 5/13. What is the length of side BC? So for this question, we're going to need to remember a little saying. Most teachers will teach this as SOHCAHTOA. Now, this is a little saying that helps you remember trig functions. S stands for sine, C stands for cosine, T stands for tangent, O stands for opposite, H stands for hypotenuse, A stands for adjacent. So when you're given any right triangle, you can find missing sides or missing angles of that triangle using SOHCAHTOA, given a few other factors. Now, for this question, we need to figure out the length of side BC. We're given sine B equals 5/13. That's to say, if you're using sine, we can very quickly see that this is opposite. This must be the hypotenuse. But when you look at this triangle here, you very quickly notice that the hypotenuse gives us something different. The hypotenuse is actually 26. So you ask yourself, how did we go from this 13 to the 26? How did we get the 26? And you might say, oh yeah, you just need to double, right? So if you times this by 2, you get the 26. And if you do that to the denominator, you have to do that same thing to the numerator. So you got to double the 5. And that's going to give you a 10. So given triangle ABC over here, angle B being their angle of reference, we can tell opposite from angle B will be 10. And we're looking for BC, this side right here. Now for the astute, you might remember one of the main triples in trigonometry or right triangles is 3, 4, 5, but it's not the only one. In fact, there are so many others. Another really famous one is 5, 12, 13. And recall that it's not just these triples that matter. All of their factors also count as being a triple. So what do I mean by that? If I saw a 6 and I saw a 10, I don't need to do any math. I should recognize this as a 3, 4, 5 triangle and immediately see that the missing part is 8. It's basically the 3, 4, 5 by a factor 2. Likewise, if I have 5, 12, and 13, I can multiply all the sides by 2. And I would have a 10, and I would have a 26. So again, times factor of 2, this is a 24. You can multiply by any factor you want. For instance, I could decide to take the 3, 4, 5, times it by a factor of 10. I would have a 30, 40, 50, so on and so forth. That's the premise behind this. But I don't know if you're following. I hope you are. The 5, 12, and 13 gives us 10, 24, and 26. Well, here's a 10, here's a 24. So if you had known the triple, you wouldn't even need any math to find BC is 24. But let's say you forgot the triples, that's okay, not a big deal. I'm only showing this because time saving strategies are really, really useful on this test, seeing that you're racing against the clock as well. But if you forgot them, then of course you can use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side of a right triangle. As long as you know the hypotenuse has to be C. This here has to be the hypotenuse. So for this question, we would be doing 10 squared plus b squared equals 26 squared. And when you work out the math, you still get the 24. Long story short, the answer is 24. Boom, shakalaka.